What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Steve Ostentoski here of Mason Brew and bringing you another film analysis. Going to do a lot from this game just because of the bye week, so bear with me. I am a little bit behind this week, but we got defensive negatives against Nebraska here. Obviously, second half defensively wasn't great. What went wrong? What things could have been better? Who is to blame? All of those things coming up in this video. Real quick, shout out to all members of the channel. I'll throw your names up on the screen. I appreciate each and every one of you. Head on over to the channel, press that join button if you want to become a member. Otherwise, throw a like on this video if you do appreciate it, and I'll appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next analysis video. Take care and go blue.
Yards per game in the Big Ten. Then Martinez, they set up a screen and a lot of running room for the running back. Ramir Johnson untouched along the sideline into Wolverine territory.
Clear coverage bust. I honestly don't know what Michigan is really thinking here, because what you're gonna see is fake to the running back, right? You got this orbit motion. No one's following him, so you do have a zone coverage here for Michigan. Drop to the flats, drop. Dax Hill is probably one of the guys who's probably at fault here, possibly Vincent Gray as well here. But to Michigan, this is the only guy that they have to worry about. You're going to see both Vincent Gray and the deep safety. This is Moten, I believe, dropping into the middle of the field. He seems responsible for the deep third, so it's possibly cover three, right? That's what it seems like, but no one is accounting for the flat here. They're not giving any respect to number 14 here, Ramir Johnson. He's going to go on the fake, and then he's going to leak out here because they're dropping back, really turning their back on the play here. If we move forward, no one is there to account for that flat right there. Okay, so at this point, you have three guys out blocking the screen here. These three linemen released, and you can't really expect any of the defensive linemen to be doing anything on this. So it's really awkward. I don't know, especially with Dax Hill, because it seems like both he and Josh Ross are occupying the same zone here. So I'm guessing this is on Dax Hill. You can see he kind of looks out of place, right? Like, where is he dropping? I think he notices, oh crap, I have Josh Ross here, and he starts going this way, and then he just finds a wall of bodies. Okay, so I'm thinking this is probably Dax Hill, thrown off by this orbit motion here, probably cheating a little bit there, and then recognizes he's completely out of place. Okay, so probably just a lack of assignment football there, realizing this running back is unaccounted for. And you can see here on the other side of the screen, Vincent Gray and RJ Moten kind of handing off. You can see him pointing inside here, but Vincent Gray doesn't get his eyes around until it's way too late, right? You can see, okay, boom, Vincent Gray looking back, and now he's like, okay, he's completely out of this play, right? So I don't know really who's at fault, probably Dax Hill, but really smart play from Nebraska, setting this one up early, and then it's just pursuit, right? Get to the play as fast as you can. So more just a schematic win as well as a bust for Michigan on this one.
Nebraska's 9 out of 13 for the year. They're throwing a deep ball to an open receiver, and it's caught. Floated.
This is what I call the pick play deluxe. Okay, why do I call it there? So let's look at the route. I think this is our boy Oliver Martin here. He's just going to be running directly between these two. His whole job, get both G-Man Green and Dax Hill caught and get them running together here, okay? This guy at the top of the bunch is going to wait and then run a fade. This is obviously what gets thrown, and this is why this is the route for Oliver Martin, just to get these guys tripped up over each other, right? They want Dax Hill to be running into G-Man Green here as he tries to follow this fade, because this guy will be in his path. Okay, so that's the whole design of this play. And then you have kind of crossing routes here as a secondary option between the inside wide receiver on this bunch and the tight end here. So if this doesn't end up being open, probably the second option would be this gentleman here after this clears out. So that's kind of the progression here. They're keeping in the running back here to pass protect. And I'll just cycle through just to give you a sense of those routes. You can see there's your pick play, top of your screen. It's getting exactly what that guy wants. He's attacking that outside shoulder of Dax Hill, right? Just run into him. Don't block, but just run into him. And as long as G-Man Green doesn't recognize this and start following that fade, you're going to have a clear play there against the safety and just hopefully beat that timing. Relatively well covered on the crossing route. This was probably there if he wanted to get there. You can see this lean from this wide receiver into Moten. So anyway, that doesn't actually happen here. So in terms of the pass rush, Aiden Hutchinson does a really good job on the right tackle here. He gets clear around 8 yards and gets pressure here. This is just a quick fade. If it's anything but a quick fade there, boom, you got Aiden Hutchinson in his lap. So give Aiden Hutchinson some credit for getting there, and Martinez delivers this off his back foot. Can't really step into that with Aiden Hutchinson in your lap. Rest of the pass rush, Hinton is winning on inside here. They do have the running back in for pass pro, one-on-one here, and then one-on-one here, Mike Morris, and nothing else really to report there. So did about as good as you could on the pressure from Hutchinson. Again, this is just a case of they got what they wanted on the outside with that route. And give a lot of credit here to Brad Hawkins, right? He times this up really well. Maybe look for the pass, right, instead of just going straight to the guy there. I doubt he would have been able to make a play on that ball. So getting good contact there is about the best you can expect. Here's another closer view of this bunch route. So boom, you can see attack the outside shoulder of Hill. Boom, just hung up there enough. And there's Hawkins hit. So you did about as well as you could if you're Brad Hawkins. Schematic win, kind of a cheap play in my opinion, but that's kind of what they got.
Up last week. It was still 245, but he was around 260 earlier. And there's all kinds of...
Can't be doing that if you're Vincent Gray, okay? Let's look at the routes real quick. You got a skinny post top of your screen, a little in route here right next to the line to gain here. Good sell from Torrey, best wide receiver for Nebraska. Inside, going to sell the slant here, going on kind of an out route here after that. This tight end is blocking Ojabo first. Then he's going to try to leak late. This doesn't really develop. And that's kind of your routes. I'll cycle through here just for visualization. There's your routes. Pretty well covered man-to-man throughout. Maybe a little bit if this was thrown right here to the inside wide receiver. Dax Hill might be able to close on that. There is some separation there. But man, Vincent Gray just gets burnt here. Before we take a look at Vincent Gray and his technique or lack thereof on this play, let's take a look at the pressure here for Michigan. Sending 5. And the thing I like about what they're doing here, they're sending Josh Ross here. They want this gap. So Aiden Hutchinson is purposefully going to rush the outside. And both interior defensive linemen are going to kind of cross the face of the lineman here to create this sort of gap in the B gap for Josh Ross to be coming. They do have the running back on pass protection. Ojabo out here getting, again, help from the tight end. Tackle doesn't really have anyone to block. Tight end does a pretty good job on this one-on-one. But this is schemed to get a free blitz out of Josh Ross, and they do that. You can see where Hinton is attacking specifically to open up that B gap. And Michigan likes that battle of Josh Ross. And he's really good at dipping under the shoulder right there. You see 1-2, boom, that dip move from Josh Ross to get past that running back. And Aiden Hutchinson is winning on the outside as well. On the interior, you got Mozzie Smith winning his battle right here as well. So good job throughout. I mean, you got 3 guys applying pressure and nowhere really for Martinez to go. He has to, again, kind of throw off his back foot because of that pressure. So finally, most phases doing well in this case except for Vincent Gray. Okay, so you can see that hard sell right there for Torrey, and that takes Vincent Gray off guard, right? As soon as his feet stop right there, he's done, right? He's cooked. That guy, number 3, Torrey has a lot of speed, a lot of momentum taking him away from Vincent Gray, and Vincent Gray just completely abandons technique here, right? Should have been shuffling his feet a little bit more. He gets a little bit too wide of a stance, I think. So moving his hips, turning his hips to run with Torrey at that point just isn't possible. But that's what the move was initially meant to do if you're Torrey there, right? That initial move inside to sell the slant route, that's what got Vincent Gray kind of tripped up. And then he just kind of abandoned his technique, right? I have to catch up, I have to grab to stick with him, and then he's just in his face here. So yeah, there is some grabbing there at the end, Torrey on Vincent Gray's jersey, but that's after the fact. That's after Vincent Gray already wrapped around the waist, and that's going to get called every time.
Seemed to be on target as well. 2nd and 10. They brought Hill on a blitz. He didn't get anywhere close. All kinds of contact.
Another play, another just lack of technique here, trusting your positioning from DJ Turner here. So looking at the routes, just a simple fade here from Oliver Martin, old friend there, and then a deep crossing route from Torre. There's one other guy down here. We can't really see what he's doing, but that's what you're doing. And then the running back is going to help chip the defensive end here before going to an out in the flats. So that's kind of the routes. Again, I'll go through here just so you can see those routes. There's Torre by the hash mark showing his deep cross. So you might have something similar to the bottom wide receiver, right? Have that other wide receiver kind of running a similar route to Torre. Just at this point, he might be, down here or something. Hard to say, though, for sure. Okay, so let's look at the pressure here. Not a whole lot of pressure. Michigan is sending 5, so you got Dax Hill on the blitz off the edge here. A little spin move from Hutchinson here, probably to try to just create some space for Dax Hill here. And then enough bodies here for Nebraska, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 against 5. Even though the running back is going out, he is helping on pass protection there. So good penetration here on the interior. I think this is Mozzie Smith. Hard to say, but he is pushing this pocket a little bit uncomfortable there for Martinez to step into that throw. So good job there, but no one else, really close to get there. This is just a quick 3 drop, right? Just 1, 2, 3, and then throw the fade. So nothing's really going to get home anyway, but that kind of is what it is. So let's move forward here to the actual coverage from DJ Turner that was called on pass interference here. So a little stutter step here. Good job. Good back pedal from DJ Turner. First thing he does here is I think he's punching with the wrong hand. And what I mean by that is him punching with his right hand. Try, like in your seat right now, try to punch and then turn that way. Right? If you're punching with your left, that's automatically going to turn your hips to the outside. Okay? So it's automatically going to turn you towards that way. So I don't know why he's punching with his right hand, but regardless, he does get the turn here. And see what I mean with now he's putting his left hand there. If he's punching with his left, his hips are already turning that way. As soon as he sees that wide receiver committing to the sideline here, he is turning his hips well, but he just automatically latches onto that shoulder, and there's no need to do that, right? He's in position, doesn't need to make up any ground here, and he just latches on. So he doesn't have to be doing this, right? If his hand is just on the hip there, his left hand, if that's on the hip of the wide receiver, start running with the guy, right? There's no need to be facing at him right now, grabbing onto his chest like he is. And again, he's in great position. If he's not grabbing and just has that left hand on the leg of the wide receiver, he keeps contact, but he doesn't need to be holding on like this, affecting the wide receiver as much. So just not a good play, and it's not necessary. So it's pretty puzzling what DJ Turner was kind of thinking in this scenario. So again, not sure about that punch technique overall, but he's there, right? He's there from a coverage standpoint. It's just a matter of trusting yourself, trusting your positioning, and turning and running with that wide receiver rather than latching and just staying way too connected throughout that play.
Huskers and facing 3rd down and 11. Hutchinson immediately a menace. Good decision and a great run by Martin.
So this seems like a bust in some form. Okay, what Michigan's going to do, they're dropping back Junior Colson into his zone right here, dropping back Josh Ross into his zone here, bringing 1, 2, 3, and 4 on pressure, okay? So let's just go forward and back just to show you that. There's the drop into the zone. There's the pressure that is coming. So the reason I think this is potentially a bust is because it's a bad combo to have David Ojabo going to the outside here and then having this interior swim move here from Mike Morris. And that's just going to leave this gap right here wide open. Okay, so on this kind of counter play, running back's going this way and then he's kind of going out this way. It seems like this is a designed run for Martinez, just based on how the alignment, there's a bunch on the left side. I won't really cover what's going on there. Single wide receiver is designed to go on a post route to evacuate Vincent Gray to follow this way. It seems like it's designed to go this way, and they have a numbers advantage as a result of that. Okay, so you can see right here, this is like built into an option here with the running back 14 here. And because, again, let's go back and look at Mike Morris's inside move here. Because of that move right here, as well as the outside rush here of Ojabo, right? This is starting to form really nicely for Martinez and number 14 out to the edge with only one defender to read, right? So that seems like it's designed to go that way. But the reason I think it's a bust, I don't understand why Mike Morris would be like very deliberately going that way and slanting that hard unless it's designed for the other defensive tackle to loop here, right? This is a very well created gap from Ojabo and this interior move here. Only makes sense if you're looping this guy, right? Because Mike Morris can shut down anything that's going this way conceivably if he wants to break this way. You also have Aiden Hutchinson coming off the edge, right? So I'm thinking possibly it's something that Chris Hinton there possibly missed on that stunt. Maybe not. And at this point, it's just super easy, right? You got one guy caught in the middle. Can't expect Junior Colson to do much. And I think he's appropriately taken away this running back, but you could argue Adrian Martinez is a better weapon. So I don't know what you expect in this scenario, but that's kind of what happens in this play. It's a good job for Martinez to maximize the amount of yards here from this play. So yeah, it's a really well called play here. You could argue there's a couple holds going on right here, right? One against Mike Morris, definitely one I think against Ojabo there, definitely rips him down with that hand across the chest there on the shoulder pad. So refs are terrible. I'm not gonna call them one way or the other. Michigan benefited some, and this one seems like Nebraska benefited, but really terrible day from the refs overall. But that's a pretty creative play to get numbers on the backside here and puts Junior Colson in a tough spot. I think it was also further hindered by what seemingly was a missed stunt from Mike Morris and Chris Hinton. Could be wrong, but that's just kind of my read on it.
20-yard gain, 23 yards rushing now for the game for Adrian. Great fake, Austin Allen, wide open. He'll go all the way for Nebraska.
All right, touchdown here for Nebraska early in the third quarter. So first of all, yes, this is illegal formation. Got talked about a lot. You can only have 4 people in the backfield. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it should have been called. Still a bust. Okay, so what's the correct formation? This guy should probably be on the line of scrimmage. That's what's missing here. That would leave only 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's valid. So how would that have changed the defense here? In that scenario, had a discussion with Space Coyote on Twitter because I was like, wouldn't that drastically change? You still would need to account for these gaps, right? Here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap, and here's a gap. Okay, so your alignment wouldn't probably change a whole lot because in case of a sweep out here, in case of a bubble screen with these two guys blocking, just because this guy would no longer be eligible, that you still need bodies out here to react to a number of different plays that can test this boundary and test these different gaps on the outside. What it does possibly change is the coverage here. And instead of playing what's probably cover 2 with Vincent Gray and Brad Hawkins here, you can probably sneak, put less responsibility here on Brad Hawkins because right now he has to account for kind of the actions of this wide receiver. And if this guy was appropriately on the line of scrimmage, he wouldn't have to react to that. Okay, so that's my take on it. Because you're leaking this guy, you'd possibly be able to have Brad Hawkins over here to mitigate this gain instead of him kind of dropping back here for 3 potential targets coming into the deep zone, right? So if it's 2 potential eligible targets instead of 3, that probably changes the coverage rules for these guys, but I digress. That's a little bit further than the knowledge I have on this. But the issue is all 3 of these guys get sucked up by this run action, right? You got a fake here. This guy looks like he's going out to block, and then boom, he's behind these guys, right? So that's a bummer, right? You are just vacating 3 guys, really selling out against the run. You need to have a little bit more discipline in that regard, but this is a tough play. It's really tough because more often than not, that tight end is running out to block you, okay? So it's a thing where on the other side, again, they are kind of doing like a fake bubble screen here, and these 2 guys look like they're going out for blocks, right? So That's, again, trying to elicit reactions out of these guys to flood up here and not support this. So that's why this action is going on here. And it could be an option later on based on how these three do play this. So it's more of a you got play. It's a bummer they didn't get called on the illegal formation there. I'm also questioning a little bit what Vincent Gray is doing there, right? Given there is no eligible guys on this side, he's probably watching for the running back to potentially leak, right? But you'd think he probably should be getting closer to the center of the field here just because of all of the eligible wide receivers leaking out on the other side. But that's a potential other aspect here. So again, from like the mindset of a linebacker, watch number 11 go out, right? If you're Josh Ross, you're like, this guy's trying to come out to block me. I need to get up here for this run fake, or what he thinks is a handoff here to 14. And that's what both Moten and Junior Colson are thinking as well. So good play design, illegal formation, but still got burned from a good fake.
Some more targets. Martinez. Nifty run.
Super frustrating play here. Martinez picking up the first. So I think what they're trying to do is, because they're sending out the running back here, I think they're hoping that they're going to get Josh Ross to follow that in man coverage, okay? Because you're going to have a blitz off the edge here. You're going to have Aiden Hutchinson coming off the edge here. They're actually going to pull an offensive lineman come across here to seal this. And they're hoping that based on the coverage there, based on hopefully Josh Ross following here and not being in zone coverage, Martinez can drop back, fake, and kind of a quarterback draw through this gap here that's vacated from this linebacker. Okay, so that's what I think is happening. Unfortunately for Nebraska, good recognition from Josh Ross to stop here and say, hold on, I kept my eyes in the backfield. This guy is running, okay? So you have Nikai Hill-Green, and this was the matchup that I think Nebraska wanted. They wanted one-on-one against the linebacker here against Martinez. They didn't really bet, I don't think, on Josh Ross being here, right? Here's Dax Hill off the edge, so you got both Hutchinson and Dax Hill out of the plays, two of Michigan's best defenders here, and you saw the pulling lineman there for Nebraska. Here you go, 54 is pulling here. And I think that's to kind of try to trip up Nikai Hill-Green a little bit, maybe to get more space for Martinez with that pull as well. Just a thought there. So the blitz takes two defenders out of it for Michigan, with Hutchinson going to the outside as well. Good recognition from Josh Ross. And from here, it's just a matter of Martinez making a play, okay? Because good job from Nikai Hill-Green, right? He doesn't let anything inside. There's no gap here. You do have a scrape here from Hinton, so he's keeping his outside arm free to force Martinez this way. So good job from that guy, Hill-Green. He's cut off the interior. Now he can start to get some lateral movement here to chase down this play. There's no reason for Josh Ross to really be flying this way, right? He has to trust that he's going to have help inside. So I understand that he wants to come flying down this way, but he should be closer to a shuffle inside here with his help kind of flowing this way. Instead, he overcommits there. So you can see there, that one extra step right there, boom, you're doomed, right? You got Adrian Martinez, super athletic quarterback, and that's the difference in this play being a marginal gain or even a loss at this point and a first down. So Nikai Hill-Green does about as well as he could do there, right? He kind of forced Martinez into some other defenders, plugged up this pretty big gap that Martinez was looking at and where the play is hopefully going here. Good job initially from Josh Ross recognizing this, but he has to get up here and just kind of stay square. He's got help in the inside there and just stay square. Instead, he commits overly too hard and then takes a bad angle, right? He's still trying to get upfield to make a play here. Instead, he should just be going down the line here, right? You got Brad Hawkins flowing, and he just doesn't have the speed to get there. So, good block there from Torre on Brad Hawkins, but yeah, it's a bummer because you had that play wrapped up pretty well, just couldn't make it.
From Fresno, California. They run the option pitch. It's Torre up the side.
Little triple option action here for Nebraska. So the reads for Nebraska, number 1, Reed Jeter. Number 2, Reed Ojabo. Okay, so read Jeter on this give right here. If he is crashing down inside, then you keep. If he stays to the outside, then you're going to have numbers on this left side. If I draw a hash here, you're going to have numbers here if he stays for this triple option, okay? So he's going to keep, so then your second read is on unblocked Ojabo right here, okay? So you're going to have Torre going out here as well. Again, if he plays the quarterback, you pitch. So if he goes to the quarterback here, you pitch it. If he goes to the outside, you keep it, okay? So blocks on the outside, you're going to have the wide receiver. He's just going to chip Vincent Gray before reaching the safety. You're releasing the tight end to eventually come across and pick up the corner there. And then you're releasing 2 additional linemen to the second level. This guy's the main block here on outside linebacker. You're releasing, I believe, this guard to try to reach the backside linebacker as well. All right, so there's a lot going on here, but you can see correct read. Donovan Jeter is kind of going down the line of scrimmage here. He's not going to be able to make a play. I actually think Jeter does a good job on this, right? Because he forces right here. He forces is actually, you could argue this is the wrong read for Martinez, right? Because if he gives right here, you do have numbers. You have 1-on-1 block here. This is relatively well blocked for Nebraska. 63 is getting out to Dax Hill. And you could potentially have something there, right? Not really the biggest hole there. Good job from, I think that's just Spate on the bottom of your line there. But Jeter does a good job because he's kind of playing right between these 2 reads. And if Martinez does keep here, you could conceivably see Jeter make a play here, right? He recognizes it. He goes down the line here, and Ojabo is playing to the outside here. I'm not sure if there's really a gap for Martinez. There probably is, but not the worst job from Jeter playing that, okay? But Ojabo definitively is on the quarterback here, so that makes it an easy pitch. So now let's look at how are the blocks developing. He's getting to the safety here on this level. You got number 11 getting up to Vincent Gray. Linebacker Hill Green is getting blocked from that lineman there, and you're pretty well blocked, okay? So I do think Vincent Gray could have done a little bit better job. He kind of tunnels himself to the outside. He does have outside responsibility, but he doesn't make it hard for Torre to make a decision, right? At this point, it doesn't seem like Vincent Gray is reading where the wide receiver is running here. It seems like he's already committed on the inside based on where this block is going, and it just doesn't seem like this trajectory is taking him to the outside. So that's something where Vincent Gray maybe could improve upon, reading the situation, do a little fake, and then make a play here. Instead, he just kind of tunnels himself to the outside, doesn't really affect the play at all, right? Takes himself out of it. Next thing, just good block on the linebacker, 454 against Nikai Hill-Green. You'd like to see Nikai Hill-Green fight off that a little bit better, but it's understandable. It's just a tough thing to do. So this is more of good execution from Nebraska than anything that Michigan really did, I think, on this one.
Off the play fake, Martinez, the wheel route, Johnson, to whom they faked it.
Really well executed here from Nebraska. So they're messing with Michigan's reads here, right? They brought this guy in motion across, and then they're going to bring him out here. That's going to take G-Man Green out on man-to-man coverage. Single coverage here. He's just going on a deep crossing route. And then let's switch to the all-22 side. This kind of H-back here, single coverage here. He's just going to take this guy out of the play as well, right? So you got all kind of routes going this way. And the fake here initially is, as well as this kind of boot action after this fake, this is all just to mess with these linebackers, okay? So let's just watch those linebackers. That's really what matters here. So you can see after the fake, boom, they're kind of with, at least Josh Ross is following this running back. As soon as he sees, okay, he doesn't have the ball, this is a boot, Josh Ross loses contact with that, right? His eyes come off of that. He's now looking at Martinez. He's going to start flowing this way. Credit to Nikai Hill-Green. He's still following this tight end who's on a kind of shallow cross, so he still does follow that. But as we move forward here, you can see that that running back's completely unaccounted for now, right? And only now when Martinez stops does Ross realize, oh, crap, I'm out of position here, right? So Credit to Braden McGregor here. Haven't said his name on this a whole lot. He recognizes, okay, he's planting up, he's going to throw. He really accelerates and closes quickly, forces another kind of back foot throw here out of Adrian Martinez, gets some pressure there, and this just happens to be a perfectly thrown ball, right? At a certain point, you have to just tip your cap and say, like, yeah, that's how you had to throw that ball. And so you can see Nebraska continually attacking the linebackers' reads here, especially with the running back and getting him in favorable matchups overall. So something Michigan should self-scout. And, it's a tough read for Josh Ross to stay on, but you have to for plays like this. So well executed from Nebraska. More that than anything else on this one.
He's right here, inside on the slot. To Levi Falk, lots of room. Touchdown.
Another play where you just gotta kind of tip your cap here. Okay, so what you're doing here, you're bringing this guy across the formation here for Nebraska. Wrong color. Got crossing routes here. Number 3 here, Torre. He's going to be on a little delay, and then he's going on a crossing route as well. This is the key, though. This guy, he's going to fake orbit motion, come out this way, and then off of this sort of play action counter sort of thing that they have going on the inside here, Martinez is just going to flip it over to this wide receiver, and that's what you call a TD. Okay, so that's the design, and you can see that Michigan is bringing quite a bit of pressure. 5, 6, 5, 6. I can count on pressure because of how quick this play develops. Again, pressure doesn't really matter. And nothing really to note, right? They're bringing Dax Hill here, but you have adequate numbers for all these rushers. You actually have one extra to account for these guys. So why does this play work? Okay, because you're vacating Brad Hawkins here. He's following number 3, Torre, here on this route. Right man coverage, got man coverage here as well. The main thing to look at, and I am almost 100% sure that they scouted this, Nebraska did. There has to be some sort of action that Michigan told Vincent Gray to do. As soon as he sees this guy in orbit motion, you book it across this, right? Maybe they have some sort of tendency. I'd have to go back and watch the full film again to really see what other packages they run out of this orbit motion. But the main thing that Vincent Gray does here is look where his eyes go. Boom, completely against the play, right? So he is vacating this complete side of the field, expecting him to continue on his path here. Because he doesn't, right? Because Vincent Gray is completely disconnected now. As soon as he stops and goes back this way, who's there to cover, right? You need one-on-one coverage with Brad Hawkins. Vincent Gray really is on the hook to get back out here and cover that. Instead, whatever they've told him in this scenario for this orbit motion, he's still on board for that, right? Despite the action in the backfield. So boom, he gets caught, and by the time this is thrown, there's nobody there, right? So this is probably another case of Nebraska scouting Michigan really well and their tendencies of how their cornerbacks play with given motion like that. And Michigan got caught, right?
Loss of 1 yard on the play. After the play fake, Martinez running away from the jobble. Martinez near the line of scrimmage, throws a duck, that is caught. Oh.
Such a bummer here. Michigan gets good pressure, right? Bringing only 4, and Nebraska keeps in what? 1, 2, 3. I should probably draw on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So with 4, Michigan still gets pressure here, right? They still flush him from the pocket, and that's mainly because they, for whatever reason, decide to put Hutchinson in one-on-one blocking here, and Hutchinson beats number 69 inside there. Nice move, and that gets Martinez flushed from the pocket here. So relatively good contain, forcing a couple cutbacks there from Martinez. You do have the linebackers now flowing up here. So, right, there's no real path for Martinez. Good job from Hinton flowing down. So Michigan has done as much as they can there, especially with only 4 against 7. So at the time of this throw, and if you freeze it right here, this looks like a pick. And I've never seen someone with more opportunities to pick that is just like so close than G-Man Green. And it's just such a bummer because he gets his hands on it, right? It's a good dive, well timed. He's right there, and somehow he tips it, and it still ends up in the arms of Oliver Martin. I don't get it, right? It's ridiculous. Right there, you can see, boom, right off the hands. Somehow still comes up with that catch. So give credit to where credit is due. Michigan made all the right plays they could. Just one of those you throw your hands up and it's just like, of course, right? Of course that would happen.
I think you got to put the ball in Martinez's hands and give him a run pass option here.
Play clock at 2. It is Martinez for the touchdown.
All right, so this is one that's a little bit of a bummer. Okay, in the rule book, it says that the ref must hold the offense until the defense has adequate time for substitutions. Okay, if we go back, let me mute this real quick. If we go back, because the offense substituted, the defense is allowed substitutions as well. Okay, that's just how it's supposed to be. So at the time, you can see this ref is allowing for this substitution. As you have Mike Morris running off, these are the subs running in. You could argue this ref does leave a little bit early, right? That ref is now about to leave and allow this play to continue. I bet he's probably looking at that play clock, right? It's not Michigan's fault that Nebraska waited very late in the play clock to actually sub, right? So you could argue that they didn't allow, especially 94 here, for Michigan to be running across the formation. I think this is also an issue because Michigan just isn't in the right alignment here, right? So I think, yes, this ref probably should have stuck around an extra second or two to give adequate time for the subs for Michigan to actually align themselves. I do think Michigan did not do a good job getting that defensive call in. So at the time of the snap, everyone's out of whack. Okay, so that's a big contributing factor and shouldn't be overlooked as a part of why this became a touchdown. Okay, because I don't know what Michigan's alignment here is, but Michigan is essentially having 4 people playing this bunch right here. Okay, and really you have both Hawkins and Hill doing the same thing out on this sort of bunch, this sort of fake to number 11 here, okay? So I don't know exactly what the plan here was, but there's no way that's what it actually should have been, right? If we look at this, both Hawkins and Hill are doing the same exact thing here. They're both flowing to the outside here because this is a read option. You have Aiden Hutchinson. He's reading inside here, so it's the correct pull for Martinez. He should have to deal with one more guy for Michigan here, right? One more guy should be probably Dax Hill not following out here. But again, I don't know. It's a busted call because of that lack of time to set the defense. Everyone was still moving around, and as a result of that, you have a wide open touchdown for Martinez in this scenario. So more of a bummer. I think Michigan could have done a better job, but I do think the refs probably vacated that holding the snap a little bit early as well.